Hello, today I'm going to show you how to sew up the donut once you have it knitted in order to make one of these ornaments. You can see I have two different styles here. This one here is a little bit smaller. This is the size that my pattern makes, which I will post in the information down below. And this one here is a little bit larger. Again, I just increased the number of stitches in order to make this one. You can also see they're both decorated differently. This one has all sorts of colorful sprinkles on it, and this one has a white chocolate drizzle. For today's video, I am going to show you how you will do the sprinkles after your donut has been assembled. Okay, so you can see here I have already knitted my donut. You can see it will have the chocolate cake with white frosting on the top, and they're very curly at this point until we get it stitched up and formed as the donut. You can see the inside part has that not so pretty side, and the outside has the pretty side with that color change. You can see, because of the increases that we did, that there are some ankled stitches on both sides in order for those increases and decreases to happen. So the first thing that we're going to need to do once we have gotten this far in our donut is going to be to fold it in half, and we're going to whip stitch the inside part of the donut together. So this edge here, I am going to whip stitch together. I'm going to use some of these tails that I already have from my donut in order to do this step. So I'm going to hold those two edges together, and then I'm just going to go back to front all the way down this middle part. When I get to the end, I am going to knot these two tails together just to ensure that it doesn't come undone when we start stuffing and assembling. And then these tails can eventually just hang out here, as we will need some more tails in order to stitch up our donut. The next part is going to be to add the stuffing to the inside. So I'm going to take little bits of stuffing, and I'm going to use my fingers or even the stuffing stick that I have in order to stuff the whole entire inside of the donut. When the donut starts to get full, we're going to start seaming up these ends here, and then we'll be able to stuff more as we continue to go. So again, I'm going to use these tails that I already have in order to start seaming up the end of my donut here. So I'm going to take the frosting color and use that part to attach to the other side where there is the frosting color. And again, I'm just going to go back and forth from each side. Once I get to the end of the frosting color, I'm going to switch over to the dough color. So I'm going to knot these two together to ensure that the seam does not come undone. And then these extra tails here can go to become part of your stuffing with your donut. No sense in cutting them off when we still need to have some more stuffing here. I'm going to add these tails to the inside of my donut as additional stuffing. Now I have all these other dough colored tails. I'm going to pick one of them that I can use to start seaming up the dough part. And again, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go back and forth through the dough color, slowly closing in this hole. Before you close it up all the way, you're going to stuff the rest of your tails inside and then put any other stuffing that you might need at this end into your donut. I can keep going with my seaming here along the dough color. Now one of the hardest parts is going to be seaming the inside of this. So you just kind of have to do your best to go from one side to the next. Help ensure that none of that stuffing falls out of our donut. Sometimes if you move your needle back to the other side, you can see a little bit more on the inside here. You can see here where I need to have some more stitching to close up that hole. Looks like that hole's about closed up. So now with my tail here, I'm going to do a knot. So I'm just going to grab some of those stitches, make a loop, put the needle through the middle of the loop, and pull it up tight. And that will help to knot that tail. I'm going to do that one more time. I'm going to grab some of the stitches, create a loop, bring my needle in through the loop, and pull it up tight. Now with this, again, I'm just going to weave it through to the middle of my donut and back out the other side. And now I can trim this piece here off. So now you can see we have a donut with some white frosting on one side and the chocolate dough on the other side. The next part I'm going to show you is how to add sprinkles, just like this donut here. You can see this donut, I used all sorts of different colors: red, yellow, blue, pink. For today's video, I'm going to show you just with one color. I'm going to use a purple blue yarn that I just have left over from another project. So in order to do this, I am just going to start by inserting my needle into a few of the stitches and pulling this through. Now I want to leave a semi-long tail, maybe about 6 inches or so, and I am going to tie a knot here. Okay, I'm going to leave this tail for right now. I'll show you what you're going to do with that in just a moment. And now I'm going to make my sprinkles. I'm going to insert the next spot, and I'm going to poke out to another spot in my donut. You can see right there is a sprinkle. I've now come up over here. I'm going to go down into another spot and come up in another place on the top of my donut. Pull it through, and you can see there is another sprinkle. And here I am. Poke through in another spot and poke through to the other side. I'm going to continue to do this same sequence over and over so that I can add sprinkles that go in different directions and in different places on my donut. Excellent. Now you can see I have a bunch of different blue purple sprinkles on the top of my donut. Now what I'm going to do at this point is now I'm going to knot this off here. So I'm going to do that the same way that we did when we sewed in the dough color. I'm going to make a loop and pull my yarn through it and pull it up tight. And I'm going to do the same thing right next to it. Make a loop, pull it up tight. There we go. Now with this tail here, I am just going to shove it through and poke it through to the other side of my donut and cut it off. That way it is inside and won't unravel. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this extra tail here. I'm going to go right where that tail is. I'm going to insert and I'm going to poke through to another spot in my donut. And then I'm going to cut that extra tail off. And now you have a donut that has some sprinkles on it. Let's say you want to make it an ornament and you need to add the hanger to it. You're going to take some of the dough color or frosting color, whatever color you want to use for your hanger. And you're going to insert that right into the top, right along the line where you have that frosting and the dough color. Now keep in mind, I like to put my seam towards the bottom of my donut. So you can see here is where I had seamed that together. So I'm going to put this through at the top and then I can tie this in a knot. And now I have a hanger for my donut. If you don't want the knot at the top, sometimes if you give a little tug, that knot will pop inside your donut and now you can't even see the knot that I've made. And now you have a donut ornament for your Christmas tree. I hope you enjoy making these. If you wanted to make multiple colors of sprinkles, you're going to do the same thing I did with the blue one in order to get the different colors throughout. If you want to have a drizzle on top, I took some yarn that I braided. You can see it's braided there. And then I attached it with a little bit of thread and I knotted it in place with thread and then I poked those ends into the middle just like we did when we knotted off our sprinkles. I would definitely say the sprinkles are an easier way to go than the chocolate drizzle. So I hope you enjoy making some donuts. Have fun.